32 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Honk if you love trucks and bucks. Hold it if you're in traffic, maybe not. Hey, we know you've been waiting for a while, but we're excited to announce that Trucks and Bucks is finally, and this year we're giving away 8 Atlas Blue 2023 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew Flex Fuel trucks. So get to your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer and play $2 Trucks and Bucks today. Ford F-150 is a registered trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Hi, I'm a volleyball. It's an okay looking forth about it, but I really wish I was a Nebraska Lottery Powerball or Mega Millions Mega Ball. See, all they have to do is mix around in a big plastic bubble and roll down a ramp, and then people win millions. What a great life. As for me, I get thrown around all day and have to worry about getting spiked, which is about to happen right now. Oh, ow! Couldn't you just do a nice, gentle tip?
The Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, partly sunny skies are expected to start off the day, and then we'll see a chance of scattered storms this afternoon, a high of around 89. Tonight, we'll see a chance of storms early and partly cloudy skies expected for tonight. We'll about 63, and tomorrow, we'll see another chance of scattered storms throughout the day, and a high of around 88. Meteorologist Kyle Hutton for 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. A sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Summertime is in full swing, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance to make your project go smoothly. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway. Deck City, your local deck experts.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and not Rico, Jake Bachevan joining you today. What's up, Bach?
Oh, not too much. Rico covered for me this morning, so I figured I'd cover for him a little bit better.
Yeah, Rico had to go pick up a child.
Yep.
So
it happens.
Yeah, absolutely it happens. So next man up mentality here at the Ticket, and
That's
we're
right.
ready to go. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as Allo channel 951 if you want to watch us on your television sets. Got a good show lined up for you guys today. Got plenty of stuff to talk about. And it's going to somewhat build off of, I suppose, of the water cooler, because Bach and I were together on that one, and we were kind of talking about the potential conference realignments and pods and rivalries that may stick around with the new layout and formats coming and being released later this afternoon from the Big Ten commissioner. We'll definitely want to get into some Husker football recruiting. And then, if you guys know, I keep track of the Husker scholarship distribution chart on my laptop. And so every single time a player leaves or is added to the team, they go in as the scholarship distribution chart. That way, when it comes fall time, you know exactly how many wide receivers you have, who's a senior, who's a true freshman, who's a redshirt freshman, all those details. Well, as I'm looking through the scholarship distribution chart, Bach, I'm reminded that they only have 3 scholarship quarterbacks.
Yeah.
With Logan Smothers going to Jacksonville State and Casey Thompson reuniting with his former head coach at Texas, Tom Herman, down in Florida at Florida Atlantic, they are left with Jeff Sims, Chubba Purdy, and Heinrich Harburg on scholarship because Daniel Kalen doesn't get here until the next season. And we briefly talked about it during the commercial break in between shows there, Bach. But this season is real contingent on Jeff Sims staying healthy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think if you look at this, and I know they said they're kind of comfortable with their ads, so they're not going to force add somebody out of the transfer portal. And if you do, I mean, I think you have to remember, too, like, there are walk-ons and guys they probably feel comfortable with. So it's not like the NFL playoff game where it's like, all right, put Christian McCaffrey back there. I mean, they've got a contingency plan if things go awry. So they don't necessarily have to force add somebody out of the portal, but I mean, it is one of those situations. It's tough. It's been something that plagues a lot of college football schools is to get a quality backup quarterback, because quality backup quarterbacks go and start somewhere else these days in college football. So, Nebraska is just kind of where they're at. Hopefully Purdy makes a big step. Hopefully Harburg, makes a big step up from the spring game. But based on what we saw from Harburg in the spring game, from Purdy last year, I think if Sims goes down, I think you're talking about the same level of struggle that Nebraska had last year without Casey Thompson. And, that's a difficult team to win with, just to be quite honest. So there's a lot riding on not just Jeff Sims staying healthy, but keeping Jeff Sims healthy. How do you game plan for that? And as much as you can do it, and maybe they do, and maybe you hold off for 7 weeks, not carrying him all that much, and then he gets hit on a routine, drop back pass and he's out. And so everything that you've done to hold him back, ends up not mattering one way or the other. So, I mean, it can be a headache, but I do see that as, maybe the biggest concern as far as like one injury. Because I see this team basically as a team outside of that situation is, nobody's really in my mind irreplaceable. I mean, I think there's guys that certainly you would hurt if you lose a Quentin Newsome. You probably can't replace that level of quarterback and that level of experience. But I think you might be able to survive and advance or in all that. I think without Jeff Sims, and it's not going out on a limb too much because as we know, it's the biggest position on the field. But I think that could derail their season, quicker than almost any other injury for sure.
Well, and what's so weird is because prior to the transfer portal opening up, and we kind of had this discussion multiple times throughout various shows, whether it was on the crossover or not, but they were sitting there with 6 scholarship quarterbacks. You also have Jack Wosh, who's a walk-on from Ole Miss, in the room as well. But you're sitting there with, okay, they have 6 scholarship quarterbacks, and Richard Torres, Logan Smothers, and Casey Thompson. Those 3 now leave. Our conversations were, all right, yeah, maybe 1, maybe 2 leaves, but you're still sitting there going, okay, you feel somewhat okay with Logan Smothers back there, because I also think he maybe fits what this offense wants to do a little bit better, which we still don't have a complete grasp on what Marcus Satterfield wants to do on offense. And I think Husker fans might be a little gun shy just listening to them and going, yeah, we're going to run the ball when that's what you've been told the last 6 years. And so I think when you look at this quarterback room, it's interesting because Jeff Sims, if he does unfortunately go down due to injury, you saw kind of the Chubba Purdy that we had against Michigan, and we still, as a Husker fan, haven't seen Heinrich Haarberg in a game setting, in a true regular season game setting. And after those 2 guys, man, your cupboards are kind of bare. And so getting the commitment of Daniel Kalen was huge. And looking ahead to 2025, they're still in on another quarterback, Stone Saunders. And so you wonder where Nebraska feels like confidence-wise, and also what it looks like in 2024. Because if Jeff Sims does come in and have a stellar season, like we all hope to see him have, what does that mean for the quarterback competition going forward next fall? Is Daniel Kalen good enough to then just step in and be the guy his true freshman year? And if so, what does that mean about your 2 most experienced guys in that room after that, in Chubba Purdy and Heinrich Haarberg, who are sitting there, which will be in their 3rd or 4th year, saying, I haven't seen any time. It's so crazy to think about what the potential scenarios.
Well, and too, just like where do they view these guys? Obviously, if these guys were getting, enough of a look that they felt comfortable to stick around in Nebraska where the other guys didn't, you would think that they had, these guys higher on the depth chart. And that was what kind of made it weird too about Logan Smothers and Casey Thompson, was to wait through the spring, not play because they were both injured and then decide to leave. A little bit strange there, but one way or the other. So they didn't get much of a look to get on the depth, as far as the depth chart goes in any case. But like Haarberg is especially interesting to me because obviously did not have a great spring game, had a few runs that you kind of like, but took especially a sack that went back like 19 yards. I think he was, I don't have the numbers in front of me, 2 of 8, 1 of 8, something like that passing. It was not a pretty display of passing the ball, but he was kind of the camp darling. If you remember, like late in the camp, the Marcus Satterfield said his superpower is running the ball. I mean, they were kind of bringing him up and feeling like they, pretty good with him. So as far as I see it, I think that he's kind of your future plan. Obviously, you're going to bring in your freshman, like you said, and continuing recruiting that. The other thing is I do think the transfer portal, I think that you'd have a lot more of a long-term concern, because when you just say it like that, it's like, man, what if, these guys are developing at the right time or whatever. Nebraska has gone out each of the last 2 years, grabbed a starting transfer from a different school. And I don't think that that's a long-term plan. I don't think that's a great, plan, but it is a safety valve that's there for Nebraska. And I think they, their brand, where they're at, they'll probably always be able to do that. But you have to remember as well, and this is nothing against Casey or Jeff Sims, these aren't the number 1, number 5, quarterbacks in the portal. You're getting like somewhere around 18th or whatever. And, that's fine. I mean, these, Casey had a solid year. I expect Jeff Sims to have a solid year. But again, that it can't be your long-term plan. So hopefully they have some guys that they see bright things in the future with. And I think they see Haarberg that way. Purdy's getting a little bit older. He's still got a lot of years as far as he's just a sophomore, I believe. But, I mean, last year, you look at his stats, 22 of 47, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for 147 yards. That's why there's a lot of I don't know about it here.
Skepticism, yeah. I mean, and we got this text from an unnamed texter once again, 402-464-5685. They say it's kind of hard to talk about a quarterback room now due to the fact that you can change it almost immediately with the transfer portal like Rule did this year. You can be wrong on a guy and it's fine. It's less risky than the past. Now, if you also look at Matt Rule's kind of track record, I suppose, of his time at Baylor, he plays guys as freshmen. That's why I brought in the possibility, or brought up the possibility, of maybe a Daniel Kalen getting rolling early, just because there is a chance that Matt Rule goes, hey, listen, we were a 5-7 team last year. We're going to be a 7-5 team this year, but we're going to learn a lot through the growing pains with a true freshman at quarterback. I wouldn't be shocked by that because that's what he's done before.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, I know this is kind of the situation. Casey said this last year, you're kind of hoping for one and done. I think Jeff Sims would, in the perfect world, want a one and done. I don't think he's necessary. I mean, again, that could change in the blink of an eye. Maybe he comes out and he's the darling of the early offs, or, non-con or whatever. But he's not necessarily on track to be a high pick in the NFL draft next year if he comes out now. So, I mean, we'll see how it turns out, but I guess I would expect, and I think that they've got to kind of, you got to prepare for everything, but kind of figure that you got 2 years of Jeff Sims.
One guy that Nebraska's hoping to get on their roster for the 2024 season is Mario Buford. He's a 2024 defensive back, a cornerback to be specific, 5'11", 165 pounder out of DeSoto, Texas. He has a top 7. I closed out on his list, but it's top 7 that features Nebraska, Michigan State, Oregon, Arkansas is on there, I believe. Illinois is on there. Oregon, I already said Oregon. There's a couple other ones. Washington. There's a couple other teams that are on in his top 7, but I think Nebraska feels pretty good about Mario Buford. Obviously, the younger brother of current defensive back Marquise Buford. Mario visited Nebraska over the weekend, just this past weekend, and it really feels like he is pretty solid on the Huskers, has been for a while, and so I wouldn't be surprised he commits tonight, is where he'll make it known. And so I would be surprised if Mario Buford doesn't pick the Huskers here, but Nebraska's also loaded up on defensive backs. You look at they have 10 scholarship guys from that cornerback room specifically, led by obviously Omar Brown and Quentin Newsome. And I should say this, I was wrong. No, that's right. Marquise Buford is a safety now. Anyway, so they just brought in 4 true freshman cornerbacks, though, in Dwight Boodle, Sincere Safiula, Ethan Nation, and DeAndre Barnes. And now they're going to add another one at least if Mario Buford decides to pick the Huskers tonight.
Yeah, and remind me too, what is your scholarship number at? Because I think there's still a few guys that are going to,
so
dissipate, I suppose, off the roster.
And that's what's interesting. So according to my count, they have 88 right now.
Okay.
However, Matt Rule has said that they are down to 85.
Right.
So whether that's guys retiring from football, whether that's guys that have just moved on and just haven't made it public. Remember, just because they're in the portal doesn't mean that they have to post it on Twitter. That's not how coaches elsewhere get notified that they're in the portal. So I think that's important to remember. Guys that maybe they're going through summer workouts, maybe they'll still figure out who needs to move on and who gets to stick around. I don't really know what the 10 graphic meant earlier this week, but it's interesting to see going forward. But according to my count, they're at 88. But Matt Rule did say they have it figured out.
Yeah,
so.
I know they're square, but we and nobody necessarily knows what those final 3 or numbers will kind of round out. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking 10 cornerbacks. Yeah, maybe and likely, but who knows what's going to go on there. But it would be, I mean, obviously you're getting, it's funny to say a legacy kid when the brother is still on the team and starting. But
now multiple, obviously Dwight Boodle.
Yeah.
Obviously the younger brother of DiCaprio Boodle.
Yeah.
So
also you get another cornerback from Texas, a connection.
Yeah.
Which obviously Nebraska has done well there. And again, that you haven't got him yet, but I think it's a heavy lean. I think if he picked anywhere else, that would be one of the big surprises of this recruiting calendar. Obviously, like you said, he was in this past weekend taking pictures with Matt Rule, making him say "Go Big Red" on Twitter.
Yep.
So they seem very close. Obviously, the brother connection. I mean, this seems like a lock for Nebraska and a good get. I mean, depending on the website you look at, 4-star, 3-star type of guy, and it didn't take his brother long to get on the field. So, maybe a similar type of situation there, hopefully down the line. And I think too, look out for Marquise Buford this year. I think that he's a name sometimes that, just kind of gets overlooked. Maybe it's because, the Quentin Newsome back there, he's been around longer or whatever. But I mean, he's got a bright future ahead of him.
So as we round out the segment, the guys so far, Nebraska for 2024 has a total of 7 commitments. It can be 8 tonight if Mario Buford decides to pledge towards the Huskers. But so they have 7 currently. Their highest rated recruit is from Katy, Texas, and a tight end, 6'5", 230 pounds, Ian Flint. Otherwise, they have Daniel Keelan Smith, obviously the son of Neil Smith, Willis McGahee, the 4th, Ashton Murphy, Gibson Pyle, and Roger Gradney. Don't forget, Roger Gradney was the first player to commit for this 2024 class way back in February. February 20th is the day that he committed. And then the rest were in April, other than Keelan and Daniel Kalen. So it's obviously we know that Nebraska's recruiting Bellevue West hard with Isaiah McMorris over there as well. So definitely some stuff to watch going forward. But once again, Mario Buford is making his decision known publicly tonight, and coming off of a visit to Lincoln over the weekend. So I think Nebraska probably feels pretty good there, especially with his older brother Marquise on the team.
Do you see McMorris is coming to the Husker camp?
Really?
I saw Mike Schaefer tweeted out that he's coming to camp because he wants to see how Garrett McGuire coaches. So
good stuff.
You feel like you're in a good spot there.
You feel like you're in a good spot. So once again, Bach joining me for Rico today. I think Bach might get out of here. I'll bring Austin Orman in as we kind of continue to navigate this what's on the horizon for the Big Ten Conference. I'll talk to Austin about that a little bit. And it's now official that there's going to be a group of players boycotting the NCAA football game. So what does that mean? We dove a little bit deeper into the numbers, and so we'll do all that coming up. Myself, Nick Sainer, will be joined by Austin Orman. Shout out to Bach. Thanks, Bach,
thank you
for hanging out. And when we come back, we'll be with more Happy Hour and Austin Orman coming up next.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next. 337 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppel Chevrolet GMC, and our big sales event is underway this month. Right now, get 0.9%. Yes, you heard right, 0.9% APR on select GMC vehicles, plus a $1,500 trade-in bonus on select Silverados and Sierras. You put all that together with some big Coppel discount, and you have a tremendous buying experience. So stop on into the dealership or check us out online at coppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings. The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wild Control and Prevention.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry. The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. 6 or 8 week waits will install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street, family owned and operated, always the best value.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Honk if you love trucks and bucks. Hold it if you're in traffic, maybe not. Hey, we know you've been waiting for a while, but we're excited to announce that Trucks and Bucks is finally back. And this year, we're giving away 8 Atlas Blue 2023 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew Flex Fuel trucks. So get to your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer and play $2 Trucks and Bucks today. Ford F-150 is a registered trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Top prize odds, 1 in 336,000.
Hi, I'm a volleyball. It's an okay life. I go back and forth about it. But I really wish I was a Nebraska Lottery Powerball or Mega Millions Mega Ball. See, all they have to do is mix around in a big plastic bubble and roll down a ramp, and then people win millions. What a great life. As for me, I get thrown around all day and have to worry about getting spiked, which is about to happen right now. Oh, ow! Couldn't you just do a nice, gentle tip?
The Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, partly sunny skies are expected to start off the day, and then see a chance of scattered storms this afternoon with a high of around 89. Tonight, we'll see a chance of storms early and partly cloudy skies expected for tonight. We'll about 63, and tomorrow, we'll see another chance of scattered storms throughout the day and a high of around 88. Meteorologist Kyle Hudson for 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I don't believe you people.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
What do you mean? What do you mean, you people? Huh?
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert with you, now joined by Austin Orman. Austin, what's up, man?
Not too much. How you been?
Good. I was just reading here that the Notre Dame athletic director, Jack Schwarbick, is retiring, and NBA sports chairman Pete Bavacca Bavacqua
Yeah.
will succeed him sometime in the first quarter of 2024. So what's interesting, you want to talk about a relationship, Notre Dame and NBC.
They have shared a bed for how long now?
I mean, my goodness.
Well, here's the thing. Bavacqua is a Notre Dame alum
Yep.
who went to NBC, so there's a pipeline that way. And now NBC obviously funnels its money back to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So it's NDBC.
They're never leaving.
No.
Like the dream of, or the wish of Notre Dame joining, well, I suppose maybe it will be a little bit smoother if it ever happens, going to the Big Ten Conference with the NBC TV rights deal and the Big Ten Conference involved in it. Unfortunately, Notre Dame is going to want a bigger cut. And especially now with a former, basically a TV exec in Bavacqua, now being the athletic director, he's going to demand a bigger piece of the pie.
If not the whole pie.
Yeah. Which the Big Ten will never go for.
No. Nor should they.
No,
nor
understandably so. So once again, yeah, Jack Swarbrick, who the guy who hired my man Marcus Freeman. I love Marcus Freeman.
Your boy.
My boy. Jack is retiring, and NBC Sports Chairman Pete Bavacqua, I'll never get that right, will succeed him in sometime in the first quarter of 2024. Bavacqua will join the Irish on July 1st in the role of special assistant to the president for athletics. So basically, starting the job.
Yeah,
starting the job before he actually does.
Kind of the shadowing period.
Yeah.
But I wonder how often he's been on campus, because I'm sure he's a guy that's been talked about in these conversations for years now.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we know who the successor is already means these conversations have been going on for months, if not years. I'm sure given NBC and Notre Dame's partnership, he had to have been on campus and have a pretty darn good idea of what's going down in that athletic department already.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think, like I said, like we talked about, Notre Dame and NBC have such a, it's kind of like it's so well connected, like they're so tied together that it's almost weird that they're in business together. Like, and that there haven't been any problems as we know of. Right.
So
far. And so now that'll be interesting once the Big Ten becomes more of a player in the NBC stuff as well. But okay, moving on. The Big Ten Conference, and Bach and I talked extensively about this during the water cooler, but the Big Ten will announce its new football scheduling model at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time today on the Big Ten Network, live on the Big Ten Network, by the way. The SEC announced theirs during their spring meetings from Florida. But now the Big Ten Conference and new commissioner Tony Petitti.
That's how I've been saying it to avoid anything silly.
Petitti, Tony Petitti. He's going to announce it live at 3:30 Central Time today on the Big Ten Network.
What's your prediction?
Well, that's what I always got to be in there. Well, prediction for what it looks like.
Yeah.
3 permanent teams. And just whatever else everybody wants. That's how I look at it.
Sure.
How about you?
Does that turn into 3-5-5? Because I think that's the way that, again, how important is it to play everybody? I think Nebraska fans right now would say it's very important to play everybody because Nebraska's drawn Ohio State and Michigan more frequently than Iowa has, for example. So I think for Nebraska, at least the fan perspective is, we want to play everyone right now. We want to see more Indiana, more Maryland, more Rutgers. Even if those aren't marquee games, you're not always getting slapped with 2 out of the 3 of Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. But if Nebraska gets back to winning 8 or 9 games, those lower end games don't move the needle at all. You want the TV exposure. So in that case, you don't mind, not going out east as much as long as, one of USC or UCLA is on the schedule pretty consistently, but probably one of the soon-to-be old East Titans, and then someone else. But I do think it is fun. It's part of the student-athlete experience to play everyone, to see everything the conference has to offer. So I'm a fan of the 3-5-5 with the 3 protecteds.
Which is what the ACC did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just don't know, like who are Penn State's rivals? Who are Maryland and Rutgers rivals that you protect without making it too imbalanced.
And that was one of the conversations I had with Bach. Was I brought up, what if in the rooms, Ohio State is saying, hey, okay, give us Michigan and Michigan State, and then in the room, Penn State is saying, give us Ohio State. That's the one we want. But Ohio State goes, nah, we're okay.
Right.
How do you differentiate and decide who wins that argument?
You give it to Ohio State because they're your flagship program.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no debate.
So there's 3 models this is coming from The Athletic and Nicole Auerbach and Scott Docterman.
Scott's been really on top of all this from the
beginning. He has. There's 3 models that they're looking at. The one was the one that Austin just described. The second option is 2 permanent protected games played 4 times over 4 years. Over the course of those 4 years, each Big Ten team would play the remaining league opponents at least twice, and then they would play at least 2 of those teams 3 times. So that's another option.
Not bad.
The final and third option is a hybrid model in which each Big Ten team has 1, 2, or 3 protected opponents. So one team Nebraska could solely have just Iowa, while Ohio State has Michigan and Michigan State. This format allows schedule makers the most flexibility in terms of competitive balance, home and away rotations, and the specific challenges around West Coast travel for teams playing USC or UCLA. Now, as a Husker fan, I am in favor of Nebraska having a tie with USC. Very much so. Very much so. Because, number one, it doesn't give USC too much of a difficult road into the Big Ten Conference, number one. Number two, if you're Nebraska, that's the Big Ten ways of saying, hey, we're not going to give you Ohio State or Michigan, but we'll give you another team that's regularly in the top 25 to give yourself an opportunity to build your brand back up. So if I'm Nebraska and the Big Ten hands me the life raft of USC,
as opposed to Ohio State or Michigan,
100% taking it every day of the week. Because also, you can't tell me that Nebraska fans won't want to make a trip out to California in October or in early November. No, they absolutely will. And so with all that in mind, my dream scenario is that Nebraska is paired with Iowa, USC, and I don't care who else.
That's just the thing. I think you need one of those California schools. I think that's awesome for Nebraska. I don't really care which one it is. I think long-term, probably USC.
Yeah.
But I don't care if it's UCLA because they have a little more recent series history, some decent games between the teams. And UCLA is on the up and up. I think that'd be a good first step. I think the prestige long-term, you want USC, absolutely. I think Iowa has to be in there. I don't know why it wouldn't be in there. I know Iowa and Nebraska aren't, traditional Big Ten rivals because Iowa has Wisconsin. It has Minnesota. Pretty good series, even against, Illinois, Northwestern, Ohio State to some degree, even Michigan State back in the Legends and Leaders days, RIP.
Nebraska had some good games. I said this in the first, in the noon hour. Even Nebraska had some good games against Michigan State. You remember those games against Kirk Cousins and Le'Veon Bell? Nebraska won one of their games 24-3 at home against a Kirk Cousins and Le'Veon Bell team.
You have the Jamal Turner walk-off, the De'Mornay Pearson-El punt return. If Nebraska gets one more possession, they might win that game.
And that was during Amir Abdullah's Heisman
run,
where he got shut down because Michigan State was the number 1 total defense in the entire country.
Right. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting ways to approach it from a Nebraska perspective, but I would say one of the California schools, absolutely Iowa. And then I think it's good and bad that we don't have a slam dunk third team. I think there's a lot of Nebraska fans that have a strong sense of disdain for PJ Fleck in that Minnesota program. I wouldn't call that a rivalry yet. I think a lot of people wanted it to be Wisconsin with Barry Alvarez up there because Wisconsin, kind of was the cream of the crop in the West in the early days. But clearly that hasn't developed into a rivalry because Nebraska has beat them once since that's happened. Illinois, no. Northwestern, no. Purdue, LOL.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Brett McMurphy has leaked it.
Oh, boy.
Brett McMurphy has leaked, and I just came across this on Twitter. And looking at the text line, we got it sent in. Thank you, Big Bird, for sending that in, making sure we saw it. On Twitter, though, I saw Brett McMurphy tweets out, Big Ten's 2024 conference schedule includes, so this is not the entire thing. Nebraska at UCLA.
Okay, fine, sure.
How about this? Listen to these for Ohio State. Ohio State at UCLA, Iowa at Ohio State.
About time.
And then UCLA at Iowa. So the games that involve USC, Michigan at USC, Iowa at USC, Wisconsin at USC, USC at Penn State. That's kind of a grind for USC.
That's really a grind for
USC. They
USC.
are not welcoming USC. UCLA's feature Ohio State at UCLA, UCLA at Michigan, Nebraska at Nebraska at UCLA, and UCLA at Iowa.
Is it any better for USC that they get those games at home?
No, because it's not. You're playing at the Coliseum, unfortunately.
But you still have to travel the 2 time zones over.
Suppose. Well, and I'm looking at that USC Penn State game.
Penn State wins. Mark it down right now.
I mean,
that's a Penn
goodness.
State win.
That's a long ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long ways to go. When it came out that UCLA and USC were joining the Big Ten Conference, everybody was freaking out about travel potential, right? And how difficult travel will be, especially in the college basketball season, where you're playing on a Monday, you're playing on a Thursday, or you're playing on a Tuesday, you're playing on a Thursday.
Monday, Wednesday, Saturday sometimes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when it goes forward.
Here's the next piece of that puzzle. Which network and time are these games on? Because if USC has to go out east, they don't want big noon. The Big Ten will want to put them on Fox.
That's true.
At 11 a.m. Central Time, noon Eastern.
Yeah.
That's a 9 o'clock kickoff Pacific time that those guys are used to. If you're USC, you are praying that you get the NBC night game. That, ESPN maybe flexes into one on ABC. In even the afternoons, like a 2:30 kickoff would be 11:30, which is more in the wheelhouse.
But there's no way that if Penn State is somewhat of a player in the Big Ten Conference, no way that they're letting that one go. No way Fox is letting that one go.
Unless they let it be the whiteout at night, because Penn State will fight for that nighttime whiteout. That's the only hope for USC there.
Unfortunately, so we'll be able to know at 3:30 if Ohio State travels to Penn State that year. They got to choose one of those.
Because they won't do two.
No.
They refuse to do two.
No, and that's what makes it so enjoyable to see and such a good spectacle on TV is that you see it just one time a year. It's that whiteout, and it's most of the time against Ohio State, against a Michigan, right? If Ohio State travels to Penn State, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do it just for the Ohio State game.
Right. Here's something else. One of my buddies just texted me. Wisconsin in 2024 gets USC, Bama, and Michigan.
Wow. Wow.
Good luck, Luke.
Yeah, that's tough. Let's take our final timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by the Husker Hall of Famer Eric Strickland. We'll continue to dive into this and get Strick's thoughts coming up next on the Happy Hour on a Thursday. 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Southern Pecan Cake from Beatrice Bakery. They don't just let you call anything Southern, especially when it's baked right here in Nebraska. But there are standards you have to meet, like a rich, decadent, moist caramel cake? Check. Bursting with too many large pecans to count? Check. Big enough to share with the whole group? Check. But delicious enough that you won't want to share? A big check on that one. The Southern Pecan Cake, the newest cake to the Beatrice Bakery lineup. Try it for yourself at Beatrice Bakery. Online at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
People for Success. Learn more about the people involved in the organization and the success stories over the years each Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Junior Achievement Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including jet plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one, or just going out to have a good time, on the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line, here, beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
There's never been a better time to earn more on your checking account. Open a free Kasasa Cash checking account with Liberty First Credit Union and earn up to 5.5% APY for up to $40,000. It's simple. Open your Kasasa Cash checking account online or stop into any of the 4 Lincoln locations or Seward and Omaha branches. Liberty First makes switching easy, and the checking is always free. See LibertyFirstCU.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for expected to start off the day, and then see a chance of scattered storms this afternoon. A high of around 89. Tonight we'll see a chance of storms earlier than partly cloudy skies expected for tonight. We're about 63, and tomorrow we'll see another chance of scattered storms throughout the day, and a high of around 88. Meteorologist Kyle Hutton for 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Motor Food is Lincoln's hardest rocking food truck and cafe. Motor Food creates old school comfort food with a 21st century twist and lots of rock and roll attitude. Try the barbecue pulled pork mac and cheese, the grilled chicken Firebird sandwich, a 100% all beef split grilled hot dog, and any version of their funky fries. Stop by the cafe just behind Outback Steakhouse on 48th Street, or catch the food truck out and about all spring and summer. Check out their menu, order carryout, or schedule a catering at motorfoodtruck.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I didn't think so.
On 93.7 The Ticket and the Ticket FM.
Welcome in. This is the Happy Hour. One final time on a Thursday. We are joined by Eric Strickland. Hello, Stricky.
What up? What up?
How's it going?
Wonderful, wonderful as always. Glad to be in the building with you.
Hey, thanks.
D-Bat Lincoln.
Thank you. Thank you. So the Big Ten Conference is going to announce the 2024 schedule here at about at 3:30 p.m. So in about an hour and a half or so, 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central Time. However, Brett McMurphy of the Action Network has leaked portions of it, I should say, involving Nebraska at UCLA. Some of the new ones for the USC Trojans. It's Michigan at USC, Iowa at USC, Wisconsin at USC, and USC at Penn State. For UCLA, it's Ohio State at UCLA, UCLA at Michigan, and UCLA at Iowa, as well as Nebraska at UCLA.
Yeah, I think that strengthens things up a little bit.
So it makes it interesting.
More interesting.
When we talked about one thing, I will say when we talked about rivalries and keeping them, it's funny because as we go through these conversations, despite them officially not having divisions, the protected rivalries are going to make it feel like there are divisions.
Should.
I mean,
It
because if
should,
we're sitting
yeah.
here going, all right, Nebraska, and goodness sakes, if they get Nebraska and Northwestern as their two of their permanent opponents for the foreseeable future, unless they add more teams, it's going to be okay. These are Big Ten West games.
I want it to feel more like divisions than basketball does, because there are some years Nebraska only plays Iowa once in basketball. Like, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Again, geography makes sense if we're still treating them as student athletes, right? I mean, even in the professional leagues, you have conferences, you play more games, and you have divisions that you play more games in. The geographic setup has always made sense. You need it to some degree.
Yeah.
To some degree, I say, yeah. But here's the thing, and then this is just a little pushback. I don't. It's not that I'm fully disagreeing, but I just want to just throw this out there and put a little, spin in it. Is Miami in basketball, right? We're talking even on the professional level.
Yeah.
Is Miami and Orlando rivals?
No,
not really, right?
Well, no, I would say no, but I also think rivalries in the NBA, and having not played there, not followed as much, I feel like a lot of the rivalries.
Are the Clippers and the Lakers rivals?
No, that's big brother, little brother.
You know what I mean?
But like you have, your Celtics, Lakers. Can they be rivals even though they're in opposite conferences? Are they still rivals?
Well, they had plenty of NBA.
Historical.
I was to say there's the historical.
That's my point. Are there any rivalries in the NBA today? I feel like when I think of
like
rivalries,
it's kinda
I think they're historical more so than anything here today.
I would say that. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you think about as the NBA playoffs were progressing, it was, oh man, it might be a Lakers Celtics final again.
Mm-hmm.
If the Lakers were able to get past Denver, but they weren't. So
I mean, I think it used to be. I mean, I think it was crazy as it was. Rivals were created depending on the strength of the team, right? At one point, it was Detroit and Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At another point, it was like you can tell this one was spawning New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was these little kind of spin-offs that kind of came out of it. In the West, I don't know if LA ever had one outside of maybe Seattle. Who was it at any point?
Shaq and Kobe versus
Denver,
Tim and Tony.
I know Dallas and San Antonio for a while.
Big time
going on. Like that was like excitement when we beat them.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say though that most of the rivalries, I'll put in air quotes, we see today are between players and their beef more so than between franchises?
100%.
I would agree with that.
And I don't like it.
Let's
I think it's bad for the game.
Yeah. Let's talk about the NBA Finals Game 3 last night. I'm sure you guys will get into it a little bit on your guys' show, so we won't take too much time. But the Denver, I mean, Nikola Jokic with a 30-20-10.
Yes, sir.
And
then
Jamal Murray with another triple-double as well.
That's crazy.
I mean, just
like right back.
We saw two different types of games, both from Denver and Miami.
Right.
We saw it in Game 2. Miami somewhat took away Nikola Jokic's ability to pass, and they got the help of Denver just missing some shots, right?
Yeah.
Last night, Jokic gets, 12 assists or 10 assists?
10.
10. He has 10 assists, and Christian Brown decides to hit 7 of 8 from the field.
Who hadn't really been playing, been struggling, by the way.
But then really took over for
MP defense also.
Yeah, took over for MPJ. Michael Porter Jr. only had 21 minutes last night. Brown had 19, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was a fun game to watch last night.
Strick, you got the box score pulled up. How many threes did Miami hit? How many did Denver hit?
18 threes for Denver and 11 for Miami. No, so 5. Sorry, they took 18, only hit 5. Miami took 35 and only hit 11.
Ooh.
And yet Denver still had a 9-point lead with a minute to go.
Yeah.
Warning sign for the Heat. If Denver can shoot that poorly and still control that game.
Warning, Will Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I mean,
good
how important is Game 4? You got to get it if you're Miami.
You're Miami.
You need this series to come back to Miami for Game 6.
You don't, because here's why. The first game in Denver is always, I don't care, it's always going to be hard because it's a readjustment to altitude and the environment. And it you can see that they adjusted by the second game.
Yeah,
because they were there long enough. You're there in the air long enough, and you're running it already. Now you've kind of got some, adjustments that were made in your body. You don't want to have to go up there with the pressure, the adrenaline, and
what's on the line.
What's on the line, and have to deal with that? Yeah, you don't want that smoke.
Pressure being air pressure and game.
Right.
So
bigger X factor: Denver altitude or Miami nightlife?
I would say Denver altitude, because here's why. I personally think that Denver has a about business mentality. So them going down to Miami to them, I don't think
business trip.
I think it's business trip. And just look. I mean, you could tell the way Jamal Murray came in there like, yo, what I didn't do last game, I'm gonna do everything to you that I didn't give you. And because he wasn't as aggressive to me in game 2. He kind of got to a couple spots, but it was like he was a lot of hesitancy, like going up against Martin.
Yeah.
He didn't have but they made adjustments.
Yeah.
And I knew they would.
All right, so we got about a minute left here, guys. What's coming up on the show today?
A lot of good stuff. Suns either trying to find a trade for Chris Paul or just going to straight up release him. What does that mean for him and them? The rationale behind it. Dalvin Cook was released. Who's better, him or DeAndre Hopkins right now? Which one do you like better? And then Jacob deGrom going under the knife. Didn't get a chance to talk about that yesterday. Nice. Is he Sandy Koufax?
Yeah, there you go. All right. All that and more coming up next on the block with Strick and Austin. Appreciate Austin and Bach for filling in for Rico as he was abruptly out today. So Rico, hope everything is good for you, and I hope you're back tomorrow. But that'll do it for us here on the Happy Hour on a Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stick around on the block. Strick and Austin coming up next with DP and J and Old School to follow. We'll be back tomorrow on the Happy Hour. Good to talk to you as always. We'll see you guys later.
But what? The kids are out of school. You're on your way to the lake and summer road trips.